Welcome to our Ignite the Leader Within Summit. I'm Connie Weitzel, and here with me is Ed Molitor. Ed is the president and founder of the Molitor Group, based out of the Chicago, Illinois area. Now, I've asked Ed to join me here because we're talking about leadership, and helping organizations to develop their executives and their managers into true leaders is the focus of Ed's work. The Molitor Group offers executive coaching, both group and individual. They offer leadership training events and inspirational speaking engagements. The foundation of the Molitor Group, which I find so interesting, is what Ed calls the athletics of business, which is a leadership mindset built on the belief that the same positive skills and traits and behaviors developed in athletics are not only applicable to the business world, but they're also the key to all of our success. Welcome, Ed, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Connie. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So is there anything else there that I should mention about your work and about you, the athletics of business, that you'd like our audience to know?
No, I don't think so. Maybe how it came to be about.
Sure.
And, my career's a bit of an interesting one where I started out as a college basketball coach the first part of my career.
Yeah.
And I've always believed that athletics, regardless of the sport, is a microcosm of life. I was taught at an early age and really bought into the concept that basketball is a frame of mind game. So what I did is I took those and combined them. And that's where I came up with the athletics of business, believing that a leadership mindset, the same ones that make elite athletes elite, the same skill sets, leadership skill sets, traits, behaviors developed in athletics are the key to your success in business. And if you really look at the correlation and the congruency and the alignment, it's pretty phenomenal. And it's also pretty simple.
I love that. And I know that applies from coaching as well. I see that my husband is also a college basketball coach, as you know, and I'm always telling him how those characteristics that you develop over time in coaching carry over so well into the business world too.
Well, coaching is an interesting thing, especially at the level that Jim is at, your husband, and the level that I spent years at. It is a business, and you're always selling. I mean, you're selling your program to teenagers. You're selling academics to your current student athletes. You're selling your program to boosters. You're constantly working with your athletic director in terms of needs, budgetary needs. Communication is huge. Loyalty is something that is, I don't want to say it's rare in the business, but it's definitely something that would separate you from the majority. Work ethic, integrity, I mean, all the different things. There was nothing more rewarding to me as a coach when players would come back, whether it be Christmas break, whether it be after their season's over or after the school year, and they would talk about, what direction their life is heading when they figured out, where they really want their career to go. And that was pretty neat to me because they related a lot of the lessons they learned and attributed a lot of their individual success, being a part of something bigger than themselves with whatever organization they were with, to their experience in athletics.
Yeah, those are perfect examples. Thank you. That really helps clarify where the athletics of business comes from. Ed, as you know, the book that my co-authors and I have coming out is called Ignite Your Leadership. And there are 3 sections to the book: leading yourself, leading others, and leading organizations. We are focusing during this summit on the first section because obviously if you can't lead yourself, how can you lead others? So my question to you is, how do you ignite your leadership? How do you lead and motivate yourself?
That's a great question. It's also a tricky question. To me, the highest form of leadership and the most challenging person you're ever going to lead is yourself. And the highest form of leadership is self-leadership. One of the keys to anyone's success is the ability to be self-motivated. It's the ability to self-manage. It's the ability to inspire yourself. I think what it all comes down to is, why are you doing what you do?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing something that you love? Are you doing something that you have a passion for? That doesn't necessarily mean that one of the things in the book that I love the book, by the way. It's a phenomenal book. And the first section,
Oh,
really,
thank you.
I read it twice. The first section, one of the things one of the authors talks about is she had to get rid of a belief that was really limiting her. So limiting belief, and
Uh-huh.
that was she could either be broke doing what she really loves, or she could be pretty wealthy doing something that she knows but is really a job.
Hmm.
And that's not necessarily true. Chasing the money and chasing your dreams does not have to be mutually exclusive.
Hmm.
So to me, it was a process. And that's one of the things I really focus on is the daily process, because I believe you can tell everything you want to know about a person from their daily agenda. And once you buy into that each and every day, a lot of people call it a grind. Some days, it is very much so a grind. But if you can dial back into what your why is, what's your vision, what are your core values, and if you combine that vision with a powerful emotion, with a strong emotion, okay, that to me is what gets me going. I mean, there are days, and being an entrepreneur, there's days it's not that you don't want to do it. It's like, how many more times can I bang my head against the wall this way? Should I bang
Hmm.
my wall this way today? Maybe that will work. But you do it you have a sense of purpose. I used to talk to the teams that I was fortunate to be associated with about having a singleness of purpose. And that's one of the things that helps me stay on track and helps me stay focused and ignites, my desire to lead others and add value to others is I have a singleness of purpose. My why is very simple. I think it was Jim Rohn who said, usually the person with the bigger why wins. I disagree with, I think it's the person with the most powerful and passionate why, the one who believes it could be the simplest thing in the world. Mine's quite simple. Some people set out to change the world. I just want to add value to people's lives on a daily basis, and I want to be a positive. You're going to make an impact on people's lives, whether you set out to do it or not. So you might as well be intentional about doing it the right way. A lot of times people aren't going to remember what you did for them or what you said to them, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And to me, that's what gets me going every single day, knowing that regardless of what I do, it's going to have some sort of impact on somebody's life. And hopefully that answers your question.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And as you were speaking, I was thinking, I imagine that's what you just said is probably a huge part of your trainings when you go into organizations, is to start with that. That seems like the foundation.
Well, it is. We just had a leadership skills camp event in Oak Brook, Illinois. We had some phenomenal organizations
Hmm.
represented. Comcast Business Enterprise was there. We had Guaranteed Rate, one of the top 5, I believe, mortgage organizations in the country. We had R.R. Donnelly was represented, and all states, some agency owners from all states, and then some others. And we just right from the beginning, we talked about what is your why, because most individuals, like most organizations, they can tell you what they do. All of them can tell you what they do. Most can tell you how they do it, but not all of them can tell you why they do it. And most individuals can't tell you why they do what they do. And when you sit and ask people that are constantly chasing metrics, chasing numbers, chasing success, and you ask them to really dial in and look at their core values and their vision and their goals and how that all relates to their why, and is everything aligned, and how that would make your day simpler, and how that would sort of, I don't want to say empower you, but how it would strengthen what you do each and every day. It's pretty interesting. Things that to you and I see simple because it's what we talk about on a daily basis. It's fun to see the light bulbs go off in their head. And these are folks that probably really do know what their why is, but they haven't thought about it in a long time. And truth be told, probably because they haven't had time to think about it.
Mm. Yeah, that is so insightful around that topic. Thank you for that. So, Ed, in addition to what you've already mentioned from the author in the book, one of the authors, in reading that section of the book, is there anything else that really resonated with you from that section about leading yourself?
There wasn't one thing. There's a number of things, and I really love how they're very congruent and they all tie together. And as I read each chapter, what you would call it, of the section,
Mm-hmm.
one seemed to lend itself to the other. And that's the great thing about this topic in this industry is success leaves clues, and everybody has different glasses that we look through.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended, as I'm going to put my glasses on. But, you know, we all have a different point of reference, and we all say it in different ways. And, starting with Kathy, she talked about the master narrative and the why versus the why nots. And I think a lot of us live in the master narrative that other people write for us. And it doesn't make us weak. It doesn't make us bad people. It's just when we get caught up in things in the daily, the daily grind,
Yeah.
we tend to lose sight of writing the story for ourselves. It's okay to write the story for ourselves. And one of the things that helps us do that is when we really tap into our why,
Mm-hmm.
passion. And you and I have talked about this quite a bit, whether it was on the podcast or just on the phone. I don't want to play small. You don't want to play small. Once you step outside of that comfort zone, but you figure you can still work inside your strength zone and you don't have to play small, it's a pretty awesome feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathy talked about your soul's calling. And when you do that, you have a sense of energy, peace, a sense of excitement. And it does take courage, humility, vulnerability. You have to be transparent. You have to take risk. And that's not something all of us are raised to do, take risk. And then when you move on to Peter, and, he talks about alignment and congruency. One of the things that really stuck out to me was which beliefs of yours are serving you. And you find in our industry, a lot of people have left corporate world to come into this. Or you find, go to people changing jobs. They leave one organization and go to another, regardless if it's in the same industry, are their beliefs from their previous job serving them in their new position. And I would venture to say that there's some beliefs that aren't, because they're going to have a new culture. They're going to have a new chain of command. They're going to have a new boss. They'll have new mentors, or they may mentor new people. So what beliefs are serving you? Now, one of the things that dawned on me as I was reading this was the higher conscious of self-awareness, which self-awareness I love, because later on, and forgive me if I say her name wrong, but I believe it's Nathalie, talks about how self-awareness is a competitive advantage, which I absolutely believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in our industry, you'll get folks who are very successful dollars and cents wise. Okay. Now, whether they're making an impact on their team's life, who knows? How are things at home? Who knows? How are they mentally, physically, and emotionally? They don't know, but their bank account is okay. All right. But self-awareness, it dawned on me that some of the people that I worked with, some potential clients that I talk to, some people that I communicate with on a daily basis have zero desire to dig into self-awareness. And that's because I don't know if there's an underlying fear. I don't know if they're nervous about what they're going to realize, or they're going to become conscientious and have an awareness of how much work they actually have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's natural that with awareness comes responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some people that don't want that responsibility. So, and I love how Peter talks about conscious leaders, conscious of self and conscious of others. I think there's so much to be said about that. And the other thing is intuition. I'm dealing with certain, I don't want to use the word vendors, but certain people who are somewhat on our team here at the Molitor Group. And, my intuition is telling me one thing, and I've sort of, gone against my intuition. You can't do that. Okay. There's a reason they call it intuition. It has the ability to guide you through the biggest challenges. And then when you go on and go to Nathalie, and I loved how she talked about how she left the energy industry, and then she undervalued herself, and she went to work for a training company. Again, she had a set of beliefs. She believed that if she went there and knocked it out of the park, that she was going to get promotion. She was going to kind of be able to write her own ticket. And that's my words, not hers. But she all of a sudden, it dawned on her when things didn't work out. She had to eliminate that set of beliefs. But the thing that she said that spoke to me was when she talked about, she had a belief she had one of two options. Option A was to be poor doing something that she really, really loves, or to be wealthy, doing something she knows very well and is good at, but isn't real passionate about it. It's a job. Okay. But and she had to eliminate that belief, and that speaks to what I say, where chasing the money and chasing your heart don't have to be mutually exclusive. And so many times I think we get caught up in, we're raised, well, that person's got a great car, a great house, a great boat. They're doing something wrong, or their daddy must have been rich, or, they just sort of, they got a lucky break.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. And here's something she said that was really cool. Personally energized people powerfully change an organization, or powerfully charge an organization. And, energy doesn't mean you're rah-rah. It doesn't mean you're jumping up and down. It doesn't mean you talk the loudest or talk the most or talk the fastest. What it means is, you have a gentleman I consider a mentor, and I've read everything, he's written, every audio tape back in the old days that I could listen to of John Wooden.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me that man didn't have energy.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that man didn't have passion. But he was as soft-spoken and humble as possibly could be. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, and then everybody talks about their why. Everybody talks about humility. Everybody talks about passion. And as I mentioned earlier, the bigger your why doesn't necessarily win. It's the stronger your why.
Mm-hmm.
And the last gentleman that the last part of that first section was Dr. Sergio Cirrus, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And he talked about the power of possibility and the power to intentionally create possibility, whether it be for your team, whether it be for your family, or whether it be for yourself. Last year at this time, I had the opportunity to be part of a study of Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And one of the things he talks about is a burning desire. And to me, the power to intentionally create possibility is your vision. Your vision, is, and does your vision and the possibility, does it line up, is it, in alignment with your core values, okay, with your goals, with the roles you have each and every day, what different hats do you wear as a person? And to me, all of this stuff just kind of goes together, and it's really cool to see how different people from different walks of life and different backgrounds say it in different ways. To me, that was my main big takeaway from that section of the book.
Thank you, Ed. I really appreciate you having provided such valuable insights on each of those chapters and how they apply to this particular category of leading yourself. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to ask you, how can people find out more about you and your work?
Well, go to our website, www.themolitorgroup.com. You can email us at info@themolitorgroup.com. We do have a Facebook page. Just reach out to us. There's a phone number on the website you can call. You can, obviously you can send an email, and we'd love to fill you in and navigate your way through the website. And, we offer the coaching packages. We offer customized leadership training programs on-site, off-site for corporations. We run the leadership skills camp. And one of the things I'm really excited about that we're working on right now is the book, The Athletics of Business, along with a series, as a video series, as well as a Athletics of Business leadership program, a group of programs that we'll come out and do for your organizations.
Wonderful. And for anyone wondering, Molitor is spelled Molitor. So
minor detail, I forgot about that.
themolitorgroup.com. And also, I mentioned that you're based out of Chicago, but of course you travel all over the country. Yes. Travel anywhere. So thank you. I really appreciate you joining us today, Ed.
Well, thank you, Connie.
This is Connie Whitesell, co-author of Ignite Your Leadership. To learn more about leading from within, as well as how to lead teams and organizations, order your copy of Ignite Your Leadership. Just go ahead and click on one of the links here on this page to get your book right now.